Just say, Richard, your name and where we are.
Richard Ogilvie. We're on a property called Westwood in the Wongabinda district in northeast of Armidale area.
Tell us about your enterprise across this property and others in this district.
We've got a cattle trading enterprise and a breeding enterprise, as well as prime lamb operation.
Tell us about the size of the properties that you've got and the numbers of stock and that sort of thing.
All put together, we've got just under 12,000 acres of country here in the New England. Some of it highly developed and a lot of it semi or not developed.
How does this property, Westwood, fit into your plans for the business?
This is further to the east than our home property, therefore it's in a higher rainfall, and technically we bought it for its ability to be slightly more productive than our country that we have closer to Armidale.
So when you bought it, what sort of condition was it in?
Oh, it was pretty run down. The open cleared areas were basically useless as far as production, but we based our purchase on the fact that we thought there might be a change in legislation, and we took the punt and it's paid off.
In terms of paying off, you've started to do some of the work. Obviously you haven't got it to a point where it's producing for you, doing the outcome, but you're working towards that. What are you hoping, or what do you think, in terms of what you've calculated, this property will provide you?
The cleared country that was here, we originally said it would run, was running 150 trade cattle. Once we get that developed and this developed, there'll be more than a quadrupling of the production off this land.
How are you going to go about doing that? What sort of steps are you doing to do that?
We're coming in here and clearing the scrub that we've got a permit for, and we're going to upgrade that to permanent pasture and take it from country that ran nothing to country that will most probably run 20 to 25 dry sheep equivalent to the hectare.
Okay, so you saw an opportunity for country that wasn't productive at all, and you're now thinking you'll make decent money from it?
Yeah, I think so, and it'll make us more economically sustainable. So, you know, instead of having an enterprise that basically limps from season to season, we're hoping to become very, very productive and expand our business from there with the added productivity.
Are you able to say, and you don't have to give the details, but you know, what sort of investment have you made, given, you know, based on the figures you think you'll receive back?
Well, we bought this package of land for $446 a acre. Sorry to swap from acres to hectares, but that's what we paid for it, and for an investment of around about $300 an acre, we'll change this country into $3,000 an acre country.
Of course, you have to have a set-aside area, which we're currently in now. How much are you having to set aside?
We're following the guidelines of what's been stated in our permit, which is 1:2 ratio, and we've left the steeper, stonier and the riparian zone areas in that set-aside area to enhance the biodiversity of the farm.
What will you be doing, if anything, to you know, manage this set-aside area?
Long term, we will fence it and make it stock exclusive, and only crash graze it once every 12 months to enhance the native species without it becoming a fire danger.
What would you like to see it become? You know, you have to set this aside in perpetuity. What would you like the end result here to be?
Just a good ecological, sustainable farm that other people could come and see and say, well, that's working, I could do that on my farm as well.
And does the biodiversity of a property, you know, matter to you? Why should it matter to a farmer like you?
If you don't have biodiversity within your farming area, it leads to increased pests, both insects and animal. So if you have a balance in your ecological area, then it's more sustainable in the long run.
And just lastly, on the area under the equity provision that you're going to have the improved pasture, you were allowed to completely remove all that vegetation, but you haven't. Why?
Well, there's many reasons. Like there's shade for cattle out in the open grazing areas, and as we get more biodiversity with more birds moving in, being insect-eating birds, and that also will come the predator birds. And I'd hate to be a little bird stuck out in the open with no tree to hide in. So it's all done in mind to be sustainable in the long term.
And you specifically chose particular trees for species type?
Species type and canopy type as well. So because it's no good inviting them here to have more biodiversity and then having them slaughtered in the open areas.
Yeah. One last question. I did want to go back to the economics of it. You came from South Australia. Did you, I guess, were you looking for an investment? Were you looking to come here as a, oh golly, there's a big bull out there. Just tell me about the investment or the level versus the risk that you were looking at.
Well, we took our money that we had invested in farming land in South Australia and came up here. It's a big risk to move from what you know to starting all over again, going from winter rainfall to summer rainfall. So it's been a big risk, but in the long term, I think it's going to pay dividends.
And finally, has this legislation so far, given that you haven't fully, that you're well on the way to doing the work under it, has it given you what you were seeking?
It's given us exactly what we were seeking, and the personnel that we've been dealing with within the department have been more than helpful. They've been fantastic.
Thank you. That was about